We're here today at the third and final day of the World Orphan Drug Congress in Amsterdam. I'm pleased to introduce you to psychologist Dr. Sumira Riaz. Welcome, Dr. Riaz.
Thank you.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name's Dr. Sumira Riaz. I'm a psychologist and also a patient engagement specialist working at a company called Unbox Psychology. So lovely to be here.
Yeah, very nice meeting you too. This morning I took part in a roundtable discussion about mental health in patients with rare diseases. Thank you so much for inviting me again.
Our pleasure.
What is your specialty in the field of mental health?
So it's a really interesting point, and the reason, the thinking behind the roundtable was based on having lots of conversations over the last, I would say, 10 years around the challenges that people have in mental health. I work clinically still directly with patients from different disease areas and chronic conditions, focusing on mental health. Beyond those who have a lifelong diagnosis as well. And often the thing that is always factored out is that there is support out there, but it's not always reached. And so when we think about clinical trials or we think about research, the mental health challenges for those participating are quite significant, and people are aware of them. You know, they're often talked about. People are often anxious, depressed. They feel isolated, and yet the support isn't always offered. And so that was the premise of the roundtable, was to start a conversation about the importance of being able to provide some type of interventional support for families and for participants in research.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we will definitely have a follow-up on that. Yeah, we've managed to create like a group now, a working group with the people that were at the round table today. Yeah, so I'm very pleased to collaborate with you all.
We're pleased to have you.
Yeah, with the aim, of course, to improve
access and services for psychological support.
Yes, very much needed. Yeah. Can you tell me more about your initiative that you showcase in the poster walk here at the Congress?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working in partnership with Sarcoidosis Research, so Stronger Than Sarcoidosis. It's a patient organisation group in the US. And actually that initiative started a few months ago, early this year, when the founder of that group, Frank Riviere, he is quite an advocate in mental health, and he's talked about his personal challenges when he was living with pain and the psychological impact it had on him and how he felt. And being a man, he often said that there was nothing really offered to him, or it was, quite a stigma. So we decided to do a survey and run a survey across the UK and US to understand what the mental health challenges are for patients in rare disease. So it's an open survey, and it's currently still running. So the poster presentation talks about our methodology in regards to what we're planning to do, and from that, what we hope is then to get the results. To organise a session with some patient advocacy groups, and to start to see what could be offered generally in terms of support and education to for the rare disease community.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, you work together with sarcoidosis.
Yes, Stronger Than Sarcoidosis.
Yeah, but you can take this wider, right?
Yes, it's wider. Yeah. So we've specifically not specified a rare disease. We've said anyone with rare disease can complete the survey to get that wider stance of challenges across indications and across conditions.
Yeah, very important work. Very, very important that there comes something like a roadmap or like a standard of care for rare disease persons. Yeah. Can you tell me what made you passionate about mental health, especially then in persons with living with rare diseases?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good question. I have been in this space now for 15 years, and for 10 years I trained as a psychologist, and whilst you train you also work in the space, and I actually didn't really know about this whole world of industry and advocacy because obviously I trained within different spaces in clinical mental health, and it was probably around 10 years ago now, maybe more, where I first started working in healthcare and working with pharma and biotech, and that's when my eyes were open to this world of where a psychologist can actually start to implement. And I actually have published a book on the health psychologist perspective of patient engagement in pharma. So it's taking a spin of a psychologist working in this space, and so I brought my passion from clinical work and combined it with the work that we're doing within industry, and hopefully found some middle ground there and synergies as to taking theory into practice. So how do you take what you are learning and actually implement it on a wider scale? And so that's where my passion really is, within the patient engagement space. So that's kind of what's been driving me ever since.
Wow, hence your initiative.
Yes. It all connects.
It all makes sense.
It all connects.
Is there a difference you might notice through your work between able-bodied people and patients?
It's so I guess your question around able-bodied people, are you sort of referring to more like just people who don't have a diagnosis or rare disease condition?
Yes.
So I mean, so that feeds into that aspect around because I still work in clinical practice where I'm working with with people that have a mental health condition. So they don't necessarily need to have a rare disease diagnosis. They can be diagnosed with schizophrenia, or they could be diagnosed with depression or chronic generalized anxiety disorder. So they're very much mental health labels that they've been diagnosed with, and they often don't have rare conditions. And so I do see a difference because I do a lot of work in pain management as well, and chronic pain, and I see a difference that those who in terms of people who are living with a chronic condition, it's lifelong, and it's not going to all of a sudden be cured. And so the way that they develop their concept and the mindset about their condition is very different to those who have maybe a period in their life where they're severely depressed, but they can work through that and come out of that, versus those who they are depressed because of their diagnosis. And that's a different dynamic that you have to play with, because you can't say to somebody that, you know, you'll feel better because actually their condition is not going anywhere. So it's quite a delicate space to work in.
Yeah, it's maybe more concentrating on coping skills, rather than working through the depression and end it. Like like there's a start and an end, you know.
And actually, you know, you will hear people often say that don't say the word acceptance, and that is quite a taboo word to use with people with chronic conditions, and because it's not. They can't. The acceptance aspect is you know, do you accept? You can't accept by choice, or you accept because you've come to a realization that there's nothing else, and that's hard for people to do, because as we talked about this morning around hope and hopefulness. So I think that absolutely there is a different dynamic that you're working with in chronic conditions and rare diseases.
And you've touched upon both. You have experienced both in your work.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you can actually see that difference.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. No, I just like to add that, you know, opportunities such as the World Orphan Drug Congress and other congresses where there's a chance to connect with like-minded people. I think that this is a brilliant platform for us to actually make a change. So going beyond just, again, it's that theory and practice. Going beyond the theory, but actually now implementing and practice, and you joining the working group that we're developing is hopefully by, as we said, you know, setting an objective to actually make a change is going to be what we're sort of striving for. But no, I'd like to just thank you for the time you had today. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you today, and of course, thank you also for participating in this video. I know it's a big support for our members living with PID to know that researchers and professionals like you are invested in the topic of mental health and rare diseases. You also mentioned you've written a book, and you've mentioned your initiative. Where can people find more info? You can find me on LinkedIn. That you can, the book is available. It's out there, but there's lots of good thought leadership work that's being done. That's accessible for everyone. It's free, so you can just go online and find those links.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks so much.